Hello, so I would love to share with you now my 4 tips on how to read a pattern envelope, just the envelope, and at the same time I'd like to share with you what my next project is going to be. So I'll start by talking about manufacturers of patterns. You have many. You have McCall's, for example, Simplicity, Butterick, New Look, Burda, Vogue. There are loads and loads and loads. And one thing to mention is that I'll get a Vogue pattern out. Is that Vogue is kind of notorious in the dressmaking community for being a very complex pattern manufacturer. So I'll perhaps steer away when you're beginning and move towards Vogue when you've gained a little bit more experience, or else you'll save yourself a lot of blood, sweat and tears, to be honest. So this is a Simplicity pattern. I've recently worked with this and found it very easy to work with. I have to say, these trousers are the simplest trousers I've ever made. So this is Simplicity pattern 1314. And I'd recommend these trousers as a first garment if you've never made anything before. There's no zip, there are no darts, it's very, very simple and very, very quick. So you've decided on the garment you'd like to make. And now you need to look at the size that you require. Now it's at the back of the pattern where you get recommendations in terms of the fabric type and the sizing that they would recommend for you. As you see here, you see pattern size. You have your 6, 8s, 10s, 12s, etc, etc. One thing that's really, really important is that these sizes are not the same as the sizes you'd see on the high street. So you actually do need to measure yourself, and it's provided bust, waist and hip measurements here, and you need to work out where you fit and to choose the pattern size you want to make that equates to your own measurements. Now, if your measurements don't fit specifically in one slot, it's a whole other video on what to do, and I'll tackle that perhaps a bit later. So you've got your size. Say you've decided that you're going to make a 12 in trousers A. What fabric do you need to buy, and how much fabric do you need to buy? So now you see at the top here, it's saying fabrics. Now trousers A is sized for stretch knits only. So they've recommended double knit, spandex, blends, stretch velvet, two-way stretch. And so, of course, I've taken the hint. If I'm going to make trousers A, my fabric has got to stretch. So it's sized for stretch knits only. So it's no use picking a linen, a pure linen, which is not going to stretch, or else your trousers are not going to fit. So then you have to match the trousers you choose, the fabric you choose, to what they're recommending. You don't necessarily have to be literal. It said two-way stretch. All you need to do is find a two-way stretch to make sure you get a correct fit. The next step is to establish how much fabric you need. Now, the English size has sort of yards and inches, and I usually move over to the French side to determine how much fabric I need, which is in centimetres and metres. And a lot of fabric shops won't know what you're talking about, or have kind of switched to talking in terms of metres and centimetres. So the first thing to look for is how wide is the initial roll of fabric. Now they're providing you with how much fabric you need if your roll of fabric in the shop is 150 centimetres wide. Now if it's narrower than that, you need to buy more fabric to adjust. And if it's perhaps even wider, rarely, I would buy the same amount of fabric suggested, but if you're experienced, you can do a calculation to work out how much less you would need. So I know that the roll I found in John Lewis, for example, was 150 centimetres wide, and I'm making size 12, so I would need 1.3 metres in order to make my trousers. And it's also saying that I'll need some elastique, or, some elastic, and it's talking about 1¼ yards of 1½ inch wide, so that's 1.1 metres of elastic, 3.8 centimetres wide delage. So that's what I would buy for making those trousers. So then you're all set to go. The rest of the pattern I may do another video to talk about, is not to ramble on for ages and ages. So now I'll kind of show you the next project I have lined up. So this is a Vogue pattern. Wish me luck. It's a top, so that's Vogue pattern 9169. Now I've decided I'd like to make C. As I see, it's very nice and slimlined. It looks very flattering. And I look at B and think it's kind of widening her. And A, I don't know, I just don't like something about the cut there. So I really like C, so that's what I'm going to go with for my next project. I'm going to make it in black and white, so I'm going to have the majority of this black with kind of like a white peeping kind of trail over here. And I may make the neckline in white as well. Haven't quite decided yet. And something about Vogue patterns is that they're a little bit different on the back. You remember the Simplicity pattern, which looks like this. Vogue looks slightly different. So the sizing is on sort of the flap of the envelope, then everything you need to know is just below here. Similar setup, really. So that's all I will talk about for now. So my 4 tips are really to note things about the manufacturer, that they don't all make their patterns equally self-explanatory. Pick a garment that you like and make sure you're, making your pattern in the right size. Measure yourself accurately. They're not the same as high street sizes. And make sure the fabric you're choosing matches the fabric type that they're recommending. Make sure you're picking the right quantity, bearing in mind the width of the roll of fabric you're getting from the shop. And, then you're ready to go. All the best, and wish me the best with this.